You have to truly believe in the magic.
What's up, Magic fans? Welcome to this week's episode of Penny for Your Thoughts. On today's episode, we're going to be recapping the FIBA World Cup, getting to know someone who you probably heard a few times whilst you've been watching the Magic, Simon the Music Guy, who will be joining us a little bit later on. And of course, we're going to be discussing a certain jersey and court drop. If you're watching it on YouTube, you might have a guess of, what jersey that was by looking at what Mikey and I are wearing and what Gary's got in the background there. But without further ado, you'll notice that Paul isn't here. He's actually on holiday this week. So I'm joined by Mikey and Gary. So Gary, fresh off watching Sunderland beat Queen's Park Rangers, mate. Happy?
I'm happy. It's a bit one of those games because I know we've got a couple of QPR fans within our membership. Actually, a fair few QPR fans.
Yeah.
There's a fair few QPR fans follow Orlando, so I was kind of watching and I was going, I'm not taking massive pleasure out of this because I haven't met a bad QPR fan in my life. So I was like happy with the 3 points, move on, hope QPR do all right for the rest of the season.
Very noble of you, mate.
Very
noble.
How are you?
I'm all right. Well, we're recording this now, and Cardiff and Swansea are just about to start in about 20 minutes' time. And I said to Mikey before we started, if we score, I might just make a funny noise or something, but I'll try not to.
I saw somebody in a Swansea shirt.
Oh, did you?
And I was like, gee, if G was here now, they'd be getting rugby tackled in the middle of this shop.
They'd be getting stoned, not rugby tackled.
With rocks, we'll just add in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mikey, nearly time for you to go to Las Vegas, mate.
Excited? I know. This time next week, I'll be on the plane halfway across the Atlantic. Well, no, I'll probably be in Los Angeles now, waiting for our connecting flight. But yeah, I'm excited, mate. Well done for redoing the intro there. Took me a few more attempts last week.
Oh, did it? It's just the one this time. Just the one.
Just the one. Good lad. And yeah, it's all good. Liverpool won today, so I'm a happy boy. And yeah, yesterday's jersey release, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I think we're all happy bunnies about.
We are all bouncing from it, aren't we, in fairness? So before we get into everything, just need to mention the Patreon. As the guys have mentioned in weeks gone by, we've launched our own Orlando Magic UK Patreon page, which is basically a subscription service for you just to help us here at what we do at orlandomagic.uk.com. We're not looking to make any money out of it ourselves. We're just literally trying to give you an improved content, some giveaways, exclusive perks, etc., etc. There's 3 tiers available. There's the O'Neill tier at £2 a month, the Anderson at £5 a month, and the McGrady at £10 a month. If you sign up during September on either the Anderson or McGrady tier, so currently there are 3 of us subscribed to that already, you'll be entered into our first monthly prize draw. This will give you a full premium NBA League Pass subscription. So at the moment, the 3 guys in it have got a 33% chance of getting their Orlando Magic basketball for free next season. So it's a pretty decent prize. So like I said, anyone who subscribes before the 30th of September will be included in the giveaway, and the draw will be made on the 1st of October. So just want to shout out our patrons. So I'd like to thank Angus Craig, Dylan Holden, and Drummy Drum. So thank you, guys. So then, let's get on to what's occurred this last week.
What's occurring?
What's occurring? Doing my best Nessa, aren't I? On Sunday, we saw Germany crowned the FIBA World Cup champions by defeating Serbia by a score of 83-77. Our very own Franz Wagner scored 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, while getting the TCL Player of the Game. His brother Mo chipped in with 8 points, 4 rebounds. So all in all, great tournament for Germany. I know Jonathan from the Six Man Show and Tom, the QPR fan, made a bit of money from a bet on Germany. So they must be loving it at the moment. But Mikey, so how much will this experience of winning the World Cup benefit the players, in both individually as well as the Magic as a team?
Well, it's all translatable, isn't it? I think for Franz, certainly, we're looking at him as a cornerstone for the Orlando Magic, and the confidence and the excitement he must have after helping Germany win the World Cup is something we probably will never even get close to realising how big that is for him. But I think the confidence that he's going to go into next season with, that he's going to really believe that. I mean, we all believe the Magic are ready for that next step next season, but I think Franz is going to be thinking, I don't know, I'm not going to say all-star selection next year, but if he has a great year, if he carries on from the way he performed in the World Cup, then he's certainly going to help us get there. And I think for Mo Wagner as well, I mean, we saw typical Mo Wagner, didn't we? Get under people's skin, setting screens, playing hard defensively, being a pest. Just typical Mo Wagner. And I think for the two of them, I think the fact that they can both bring so much confidence back from the World Cup, I think it's just great. Whether it translates, I also think the other thing with the World Cup is they're playing really competitive basketball, even though it's the off season for the NBA. I mean, we see videos of players working out and getting ready for training camp and pre-season, but I don't think you can ever replicate that competition. So I think for those two, they should be dialed in, ready to go in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. I just want to say about the German team. Obviously, they play basketball really, really well. And their head coach, you got to sort of think maybe an NBA team would come in for him, wouldn't you? The way they pass, the way they stick to their roles. You know, there's, I don't know how many NBA players on that German team, 4 or 5 maybe, come up against Team USA, and you know, they put them to the sword, didn't they? So that leads me into Team USA, who of course failed to win a medal at this World Cup, being the overwhelming favourites going in. They lost the fourth place game to Canada by a score of 127 to 118. It was a very good game if you watched it. Went to overtime. Was it Mikal Bridges missed the free throw on purpose, ran it to the corner, knocked a 3 down, forcing overtime. Paolo didn't play that particular game as he's suffering from an illness, as were a couple of others from the US team. But Banchero finished the tournament averaging 9.3 points, 3.4 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and just under a block in about 17 minutes per game. With shooting figures of 57% from the field, and his 8.9 positive plus minus rating was third best on the team. So, Gary, how would you rate Paolo's World Cup given his limited role on this US team, mate?
From an efficiency standpoint, which is what people were saying, one of the things they want to see Banchero improve on going into year 2. You cannot at all be upset, and you cannot be upset about the court time, that what he showed when he got the time on the court. It was all positive. I think more than anything, just from a purely selfish standpoint here, there wasn't enough Paolo Banchero in the sense of probably he's playing as a big on Team USA. I think part of the undoing for the team seems to fall on the shoulders of Steve Kerr, and whether and that's one of those things where you're criticising a coach who knows is one of the all-time top-end coaches now, given what he's done with Golden State. But in that tournament, I think America lost because they tried to play a system that they didn't have the personnel to play. And when you look at it, Jaren Jackson Jr. had what we'd call a howler. He had a really, really bad tournament. And for me, you're looking at that's not working. You've got to look what else is on the bench and change it up. And I think the US, as you said, G, look at what Germany did with 4 to 5 NBA players. And if that's the case, that's America's got the advantage over everybody else if we're saying the NBA is the gold standard, which we believe it is. So I think really there was an opportunity to change that team up. And you could have gone more traditional, I think, with Banchero and Walker Kessler, for example, and a more traditional 1 to 5 lineup. And it would have meant more minutes for Paolo and a better chance to show what he can do, because we've seen what France can do. Franz did not shock anybody who's watched the Magic playing basketball. That was just standard Franz Wagner. It's a shame that Paolo didn't get the minutes to show what else he can do, but it was lovely to see the efficiency, and it was great to see the defensive side of his game.
No, absolutely. So obviously we've got the Olympics coming up next summer now. We might see a few more players playing. Wemby for France potentially. Germany's going to be there. USA, Australia didn't have the best FIBA World Cup, did they? But obviously there's talks of these big guns now coming in for the Team USA. All just to dethrone King France. Funny, isn't it? When will we get the respect?
When we start winning, G. That's when it'll start.
Well, France is winning though on the international stage, isn't he? So let's hope we can translate to some W's on the NBA.
What would you do though if they called Markel up onto Team USA?
Be a toughie, wouldn't it? If Banchero and Markel were on Team USA, you'd have to go with Team USA. But the last World Cup, you had to go for France and Mo, didn't you? I know it was Englishmen. You don't really like Germany in terms of, football and everything.
Germany's done nothing for me.
Oh, no? Well,
really.
Generally, though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's one of those. How can you dislike Franz Wagner? No,
exactly. Absolutely. And some of his some of the press conferences were quite good, weren't they? Did you see when they stopped Mo in the tunnel and they wanted to talk to him? He said, "No, you don't want to talk to me. You want to talk to him."
Do you reckon Mo was just off to FaceTime Luka Doncic to show him like the gold medal?
Probably.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
And now, Magic fans, we are delighted to be joined by our next guest. I've been trying to get this guest on for quite a while now. I've shared a few beers with him whilst I've been in Florida myself. So I'm delighted to be joined by somebody you've probably heard many a time at the Amway Center, especially his work. A man who's responsible for all the music and sound effects you hear at the Magic games, Simon the Music Guy. How are you, Si?
I'm fantastic. I am excited to be with you guys.
Oh,
the interview hasn't even started. Having fun, so I'm good with that.
Oh, we're having a lot of fun, aren't we? You're coming to the UK. Before we get into everything, you're coming over to watch your Buffalo Bills in October, aren't you?
I am. I leave October 4th. I fly in the morning of the 5th. So, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm still trying to figure out everything that I want to do. The only thing I know is that I have a Joe Strummer centered punk rock tour set one of the days that I'm there. So
brilliant. And it's not the first time you've been to the UK, is it? You like to frequent these shores, we like to frequent the US.
I love the UK. London has fast become one of my favorite destinations. This trip, though, next that I'm coming on now will be the longest time that I've spent. I've got like 7 days in London, before and after the Buffalo Bills game. Prior to that, I'd stopped in for like maybe a day before and a day after at the head and tail of a trip on my way to Ireland, or I did a 11-day UK tour, or not tour, I'm sorry, cruise, an 11-day cruise around the UK, which was amazing. You guys are extremely blessed to be where you are.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And you've been to God's country as well. You want to throw that in there?
God's country? Are you talking Canada?
No, you've been to Wales, yeah?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I have been to Wales. Although there's much more that I really need to see of Wales, because to be honest, it was the only way I ended up in Wales was, how do I get the cheapest possible way from London to Dublin, and it ended up being by bus and across the Irish Sea. So yeah. And it was dark when I was in Wales, so
it's probably the best way.
Oh, stop!
All you would have seen is fields and sheep. Otherwise, it would have been fine. And daffodils.
I would have been fine with that.
Well, you're welcome anytime, Si. So tell all the listeners, if you'd be so kind, what your job entails and what a game day looks like for you.
Well, normally, on a game day, like let's just say for a 7 o'clock game, I usually show up at the arena at Amway Center about 4 o'clock. I'm sorry, not 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 hours before the game. And I take that time to just kind of go through. For each game, we have a script. And it basically is just so we're all on the same page as to what happens when. Like during the first quarter, first time out, we're going to do a free throw shooting contest with fans or whatever, whatever, things like that. So, and for all little things like that and everything, I pull music and get music sound effects ready for not just those contests, but for the game as well. Pretty much for the game, the sound effects and stuff are already always there. It's just a matter of all the other entertainment that I need to get set for. Usually, I'll do that for, I'll prep really for about, hour and a half, go grab a bite to eat and then go back up to the sound booth, which is on the club level at Amway Center. And, we have pre-game performances and stuff. Those usually start around 6:30 or so. Sometimes I've got to play music for that. And then, once the anthem is sung and 7 o'clock goes and tip off is done, I kind of consider it downhill from there. Like everything up until tip off to me is work. And then when work is done and tip off happens, that's the fun part for me. Cause it's just, it's usually pretty exciting behind the scenes. And, once the game is over and stuff, I really have very little duties other than playing a couple songs, and then that's it for the night, really.
It sounds like the perfect job, doesn't it? We'd love it. You get to watch the magic. You could put some tunes on. Brilliant.
I am very well aware of how lucky I am to be in the position that I'm in and how long I'm in the position that I'm in. And I don't take it for granted at all. I love the job.
Yeah. How long have you been in the position? I think you told me back in February. I forget.
With it officially being the 35th year, I can clearly remember when we were celebrating the 15th year. But I was on board for a couple years prior to that. I reached out to the human resources department at the Magic once because I honestly can't remember when I started doing the games full time and asked them to look it up for me. And they came back with the answer that, I'm sorry, your employment predates the current computer system that we have. So unfortunately, I can't give you a concrete answer.
Brilliant. Now, you might notice Paul's not here, but he had a question and he's really gutted he couldn't make this podcast. He's on holiday. He's a big rock music fan and he loves the tip-offs you've been having, especially with playing Disturbed as one of his personal favorites. I think
nice.
The track's called A Warrior's Call.
Mm-hmm.
Having Disturbed used and his personal favorite, A Warrior's Call by Danish band Volbeat. So who selects the music for the tip and what are you looking for in a song?
It depends. Sometimes the music is chosen from the video boards and all the light displays inside. It depends on how they want to handle tip off every year. Like obviously normally there's a video that the team that introduces the team, they all come out of the tunnel and then they usually transition from that to another pump up type high energy video that leads to maybe about 30 seconds before tip off. And then I need to fill that time with music. If that's the case, then it's usually me that picks those songs. what do I look for? I mean, obviously it's a, a great opportunity to pump up the crowd and hype everyone up. So it's literally probably one of the only times that I really lean on the heavily on the rock genre to pick music. I mean, and when you've got something like Warriors Call, how like that is literally made for that moment and things like that. I've used a lot of Skillet as well throughout the years a couple times. So and I kind of can't remember what else I've used. I still have playlists from every game that I've done that I can always look up and stuff. But yeah, and a lot of it just comes from me in just my personal life, driving around in my car, listening to music and seeing what's out there. And if there's something that I hear that I like, no matter what it is, I'll pull my phone out and so if you look at what I've Shazammed, it's a lot of music that I'm going to go back and like, oh, well, later I can do this, or I can edit this to, either make like an offensive prompt to, get the fans cheering for the team as they have the ball, or something defense, or just anything that I, can think of to do with it.
There's one I just want to mention before Mikey jumps in on the next question. There's one that you play, which is called Ironside by Quincy Jones, which is on the Kill Bill soundtrack. For basically when there's a bad call and you play it. I love that.
Perfect.
And we spoke about it in February, and you didn't realize how much people loved it. And it's on my Magic playlist just because it's very well used. So no, well done on that.
That's fantastic. I appreciate that. The good part is that, not the good part. I mean, I love hearing that people like that stuff. But a lot of the time I don't get much feedback at all. So it's always good to hear that. And if I can, let's see if I can get away with doing this. Can you hear that?
It started and then it cut out.
Well, that's a shame because I had it all routed properly. I thought. Well, I was trying to play it for you, but I got it here. Yeah. Like literally, this call is being taken on the computer that I use to do the games with. So,
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, Simon, can you take us through the process, sort of piggybacking off of what you've just talked about in terms of like the songs and the effects that you use? You tend to, from if my memory serves me right, you tend to vary it year by year. You tend to change it up. I think typically throughout the season, the songs are the same. But is there a team of you that decides, or is it literally just like, I quite like that, I'm going to stick that on my playlist, or is there much that goes into it in terms of that?
When it comes to like the like sound effects during gameplay, because let me say this to begin, like the end a certain and we cannot do during a game. Pretty much when the Magic have the ball and we're on offense, I can pretty much play whatever I want during gameplay. So that's why it's much more varied during the times that the Magic have the ball. However, when the opposing team has the ball, it's more call and response type sounds that are kind of defense based and are more repetitive. That's kind of just how the NBA wants it. So those kind of stick around throughout the years and, have kind of become classic sounds. A lot of them defensively. Occasionally I can, not occasionally, but, like I said, when I Shazam stuff, sometimes it is to be like, oh, that could easily be a defensive prompt. It fits into what the NBA says, and I can use that and do that. But when it comes to like the offense and everything, there's really almost no limit to what I can do. I try and not to make it so distracting or anything like that. But if you're, how do you not take a song like I Can Make Your Hands Clap, and how do you not work that in somehow? You just have to. But then when it comes to the music I play, outside of gameplay and everything, again, I've been very blessed with the people with the magic. I think as long as I've been doing the job, they know what kind of job I do. They trust me with my judgment, and I have had very, very, very little restraints placed on me as far as what I can and can't play. And so pretty much it's just left to whatever I think fits the moment.
There's another one. I just wanted to jump in there. I'm obviously friends with you on Facebook. I think you were watching a Bills game the other day, and something happened. I think the Bills might have scored, and I think you commented and said, I went and put Shout on. And obviously Shout is another one that you play at the Magic, isn't it?
It is, yes, but because the Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills, we kind of have our own version of Shout. It's kind of like the old Magic song that they, that we started playing at the beginning of the games at, last year. It's a different version of Shout, but it's all like Buffalo Bills based lyrics.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, there's that. But for a while, not last season so much, we'll throw it in every once in a while. But I think 2 seasons ago, we always at the Magic games at the second time out of the third quarter would always play the original version of Shout to, get the crowd, just keep the energy up and everything. And that would always come our video display people, because we had great visuals of people dancing along and stuff on the Magic Vision, so that came from there. Yeah
Anytime you play the original Magic theme song, it'll put a smile on every Magic fan's face. So if you played that 20 times a game, Simon, we'd all be really happy. The other thing is, have you got a Spotify playlist?
Do I?
Yeah, because I think if you put one together, I think there'd be a lot of Magic fans that would subscribe to that and would be interested, because like G's probably put his own together just based off of the songs he played.
I do have my own. Yeah.
I would like to see your playlist. No, I don't have a Spotify playlist. Keep track of what I played during games, and we used to post it on the Magic website, but that's probably been 7 or 8 years that we've done that. But I don't know. I honestly don't use Spotify as much as I probably should. Like I use it if I'm like hamstrung really quickly and need, a song that I don't have. And to be honest, it's very rare that I don't have a song that I need. After compiling the library that I've got for 20 plus years. And it's really rare that I don't have the song that I need.
Yeah. Obviously, with your extensive knowledge and experience and the sort of songs that work, because obviously I'm sure from your point of view, one of the most important things is trying to keep the crowd engaged throughout games. But with that in mind, what if you could rate your top 5 songs in recent years that you love to play during a game? What would they be?
Top 5. Goodness. Yeah. I know. Oh gosh. I'm trying to.
Rock and Roll Part 2's got to be in there, right?
No, not at all. No.
Really?
I have not played Rock and Roll Part 2 in years. Not just because, but I mean, Gary Glitter's had his issues. Let's be honest here. He's he's kind of off my playlist.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't played Gary, although he used to be in the old building. We used to play that a lot. I'm trying to think. There's a song called Save Yourself by the Chainsmokers that I love using during the fourth quarter. That to me is a fantastic song. I'm trying to think of another song. I know it's an Olivia Rodrigo song, and you'll laugh, but it's Good for You by Olivia Rodrigo, but I have a mix of it that was made. I'm sorry, wait. It's done with Paramore. That is a fantastic mix that I have, that I love playing. Here in Florida, Pitbull always seems to work. So, gosh, anything by Pitbull seems to work. Don't Stop the Party always kills. Oh gosh.
Moni. I'm thinking of the old stuff.
No, I try not to stick like those are classics, yes. But again, I haven't played Moni in years either. Just because there's other, in my mind, there's a lot of other stuff out there. Like when it comes to the fourth quarters, where I kind of pull out a lot of the stuff that I really that really likes. I end up with like some Tiesto in there, Icona Pop. So yeah, I know that's not exactly like probably the five bangers you're looking for, but I just I lean in the fourth quarter to those songs that are like EDM based, and they just seem to work really, really well when you're shooting t-shirts out to the crowd.
So we're recording this on Saturday the 16th, but yesterday was pretty significant because we unveiled I'll call it the throwback look with the classic star print jersey. I was just wondering what your thoughts are on the new, or the old look, shall we say, and the new look, if you can call it that, court designs.
I really like the throwback stuff. I see you're wearing the orange and the black. The city. Yeah. When that came out, I thought that was fantastic. As a matter of fact, the background of my computer is one of those jerseys because I just loved the black, the graphite and the orange. But I'm really excited about the new court. I've seen it in pictures. I want to see it in person. Like I look at that logo, and to me, it just brings back, Heart and Hustle years. I mean, the team wasn't great, but man, did we have fun. It was so much fun to come to games. But yeah, I'm looking at it now on my other computer. And the new jersey as well is great. I just like it. I've already had a meeting with the team about some things we're doing for the upcoming season, and it is going to be a lot of fun. It is going to be a lot of fun. But I like seeing the old logo. It does bring back, great memories of, having that on the court and on players' backs.
Absolutely. We were talking about this, and we just bring the old logo back.
I was going to say, because I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the I like the logo that we've had, but it's always fun, especially in an anniversary year. You've got to take a look back to where you were, and we're still moving forward.
So with all the great things going on around logos, courts, jerseys, and excitement, it's a pretty simple question. Did the Magic make the playoffs this year?
I think we'll go deeper into the playoffs than we've gone in a while. Isn't saying much, but with such a core group of guys, that are young, and I think they all really want to prove the doubters wrong. And there was a at the end, middle and to end of last season, there was more of a buzz here in Orlando around the team than there had been in a while, and it was great to see that. My girlfriend follows the Magic just because I work with the Magic and everything. But if she is commenting to me about the games the day after, and she loves sports, don't get me wrong, she loves sports. We watch a lot of Premier League football, to be honest. Watch a lot of NASCAR. She's downstairs watching football right now. American football, said the Canadian, not Canadian football. But when she is bringing up the games and saying, I should come out to a game, I'm like, yeah, you should. So, but yeah, I think we're all going to be surprised with what the Magic do this year.
Absolutely agree.
So you just mentioned the Premier League there. Who's your team out of interest there, Si?
I really don't have a team. We will literally watch, and I hope you don't think I'm kidding. My girlfriend will record Premier League games, and we'll get up and watch Premier League. So I really don't have a team. If I had to lean on anybody, it would probably be Chelsea for really no particular reason. And oh boy, that didn't go.
No, well. Yeah, that's all right. All right. Well, Gary and myself and Paul, we support teams in the Championship.
Okay.
And then we've got Mikey there who supports Liverpool.
Oh, all right.
His face looks as red as the Liverpool shirt at the moment for some reason. No, there's nothing wrong with Chelsea.
No comment. No comment.
Again, I really don't have a reason, but I'll watch any game, I'll tune in anybody.
Yeah. Did you get to go when Magic were in London in 2016? I think a few of the players went to watch Chelsea that day. I think Alfred Payton might have gone.
I did not. We literally had, when we were in London with the Magic, we literally had a very, very tight schedule of things that we needed to do as a production crew behind the scenes. So, just off the top of my head, we landed at Heathrow to our hotel, which was over on the Isle of Dogs, and it took us forever to get there. And we ate lunch because it was lunchtime by the time we got there, and then they drove us straight over to the O2 to start doing rehearsals for the game and to do a walkthrough and everything. And then we went back to the hotel that night, and then most of the full-time staff, I believe it was Alec Martin's birthday. So to go to a castle and have a dinner celebration for Alec Martin, I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm not a full-time staff member. So I pulled out Google and Googled Canadian bar in London, and I ended up at the Maple Leaf, just off Trafalgar Square, and had dinner there, and then just took the tube back to the hotel and fell asleep. And then we did the game, and then other than that, maybe we had 12 hours to go do stuff in London. So the two things that I did really quickly, if you're interested, I'll tell you. I went to go see the building where the original Stanley Cup was built, because I'm also a huge hockey fan. And that's down on Regent Street off, I'm not sure exactly where. Anyway, I went to go see the building, and there's a plaque on the wall where the original Stanley Cup was purchased. I walked down the street after that and bought a brand new pair of Doc Martens. And then I went to the Joe Strummer Subway, because if you couldn't tell, I'm kind of a Clash fan and I love Joe Strummer. Yeah. So, and then we played the game and then flew home.
Oh, fantastic. So last question then, Simon. what's your favorite moment working, memory or moment working for the Magic?
That's a tough one because I have friends who can remember, dates, quarters, times of events that happened. Like when I started thinking about that, some of the things I like the quirkier things that happen with the Magic, like T-Mac putting up 61 points. It was T-Mac, right?
Mhm.
I remember that night. That was a great night. That was a great moment because, I mean, how often are you ever going to see that? That was a great moment. And I don't even remember who we were playing or whatever. And it's an obscure moment, but it still sticks out in my mind. I don't know if it's a favorite moment, but again, I love these quirky moments. When Daryl Armstrong had to pick up the TV off the court.
Yeah.
Another moment that I don't know if it was favorite, but I know it's special to me even more so now. The night that we lost the NBA Finals. It was in Orlando. It was back in the old building in Amway Arena. And usually after the games in Amway Arena, I would go down and I knew the guy who engineered the away radio broadcasts for the visiting team. So obviously it was the Lakers. So he was engineering the broadcast for the Lakers. And I would always just go down, say goodbye to him on my way out of the building. And particularly that night, I was just like, well, yeah, that was awful. This isn't cool. I thought we were going to do better, et cetera, kind of, just, discussing our sorrows. And then there started to talk back and forth on the broadcast team. He's coming out. He's coming. He'll be here in a minute. And I'm like, what's going on? And Kobe Bryant came walking across the court. And he stood there, like literally I was within arm's reach of him and I didn't have to move. He was coming to us, and to hear him, being interviewed and, being that close to someone accidentally, was really cool. And in that moment, I know it's not necessarily a magic moment, but it's something that it was amazing that I could be there for that. And I got, pictures of him as I'm sitting there. Thank God for cell phones with cameras on them. And with him and his wife and 2 daughters at the time, right there on the court. They're great. Obviously tragic what happened, but not to bring the room down, but it was a great moment. And other moments that stick out for me are just moments that I've been blessed enough to, I've talked about my trip to London. We've done Rio de Janeiro. We did Mexico City. We're doing Mexico City again this year. Knock on wood, I'm on the list to go. And just, the Magic organization is filled with people that are amazing people. And to be included in that group for me it's a good moment whenever we can all get together and work together. We've got an amazing team of people that we all work well together with. I think the NBA realizes that and really, allows us to do our thing when we do these international games. So it's always great to be with those people and the moments that we have, that we're lucky enough to have, doing a game in London or Rio or wherever. Those are great moments. So it's not necessarily for me an on the court moment, but those moments are meaningful to me.
No, that's brilliant. No, very well put. Yeah, I mean, that's why we all love the Magic, isn't it? So, no, but thank you ever so much for, taking your time out of your day today. I've been trying to get you for a while, and this is the first time we've been able to put this together, isn't it? So I hope you have a fantastic trip to London in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you ever so much for your time, Simon. And look forward to seeing you again soon.
My pleasure. Yes, we will have a few more pints.
Sounds good, mate. Right, let's get into a little bit of Magic news that's happened this week. So in the week, we were told there's going to be a new sideline reporter. The Magic have named Kendra Douglas as a sideline team reporter. So in a role, she's going to be serving as the reporter for Bally Sports Florida and Sun broadcasts, as well as a correspondent for social media channels. She did cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers during a Super Bowl winning season. I had to throw that in there just because we got a Las Vegas fan in the building here who doesn't know what winning's all about. So we're looking forward to seeing Kendra on our screens in October. Some people have asked on X or Twitter, she's not replacing Dante, is she? No, totally different role. Dante is the anchor for the broadcast, so don't worry about that. A little bit of sad news also broke this week in that former Magic player Brandon Hunter unfortunately passed away this week. So we want to send our deepest condolences to the entire Hunter family and anybody who knows Brandon. I know Dante posted this week about it. So our thoughts are all going out to Brandon and his family. A trade. You wouldn't think it's September, would you? The Osceola Magic have acquired the rights to Mac McClung, and I know you guys were high on Mac McClung, from the Delaware Bluecoats. So the Magic traded forward Jeff Downton and a second-round draft choice from 2024 to the Bluecoats in the deal. Wow. Do you like it, guys? You might be playing for Osceola.
It's all right. And while we're on, and that leads us on nicely onto the jerseys, because they're also getting a throwback jersey as well. They
are. Actually, I didn't put that down there. So, as the guys just alluded to, yesterday we saw the unveiling of a new jersey for the 2023-24 season, coinciding with the Magic 35th anniversary, where we unveiled the Blue Stars jersey that we wore between, I want to say, 99 and 03. And when people think of this jersey, they just think of T-Mac in it. So they'll be wearing those jerseys against, I've got a list of them here actually. Opening night against the Rockets, the Bucks on November the 11th, the Heat December 20th, the Hawks January 7th, the Sixers January 19th, the Thunder February 13th. I'll be there for that. The Pistons March the 3rd, the Clippers on March the 29th, the Grizzlies March the 30th, so the back-to-back, and then lastly against the Bucks on April the 14th before we go into the playoffs. So, guys, thoughts on the jersey? Happy? You see big smiling faces right there. Mikey?
Mate, ecstatic. I think it was obviously something we knew was in the rumour mill last year, and we thought we were going to get it last season. It didn't happen. But I mean, for me personally, it's real nostalgia going back to when I became a Magic fan back when I was like 15, which is a long time ago now, back in the early 2000s, and watching T-Mac, Troy Hudson, Andrew DeClercq. I remember Patrick Ewing wearing it for a year. Just pure nostalgia. And for me, like the Stars jerseys, I know the pins are classics, but for me, the Stars are my favourite jersey. I know me and Gary have had this conversation that I'm not a big white jersey person. I'm like Paul on that, but the white jerseys are my favourite of all time. But I think the Magic have just absolutely nailed the whole unveiling of what they've done. I know you're going to go into that shortly with what they've done, but for me it's a perfect throwback. And if you're my sort of age, if you're in your like early to mid 30s or maybe a little bit older, then there's some fond memories of those early 2000 T-Mac teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was the Heart and Hustle team who wore it as well. Mm-hmm. People forget that because you just think of T-Mac. And then it was also the last year we had Penny Hardaway, Nick Anderson, before the team was all blown up and we lost the Sixers in the playoffs. They wore the jerseys for the first season. And I mean, Nick Anderson told us a great story, didn't he, about the design of them. So if you want to hear that story, if you go back in the archive now, there's a really good story about the jerseys right there. So they also gave us a brand new court, and it features the Magic part of the the rebrand, which featured the Stars jerseys mentioned. So it's just the Magic wording only, and not the ball that goes underneath it. Nice to see that one, Gar.
It's interesting, really, because when you look around social media, if you use Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it this week, and you have a look around on it, there's not one negative comment that I've seen about the jerseys, about the logo, about the court at all, from Magic fans, from from general NBA accounts, from other fans of other teams. Nobody can say anything negative. So I think there's a message there to Magic marketing, and it's just give us what we want. And what we want is basically this logo back in whatever incarnation it is, that star logo, the A and the dot of the I with the star there, and some form of the star print pinstripe jerseys. People want them back. It's that simple, and I think you can put out any other jersey, any other design, whatever you want. You can't beat perfection. And you throw the court in there, you throw the logo in there, you throw the merch in there, but those first 5 jerseys and everything around it is top 10 to 15 of every team's jersey of all time, all 5 of them. And the logo is iconic. That is the Orlando Magic's logo, those first 2. So anything with that on the court, play every game with that court for me.
Yeah.
Every single game.
Definitely.
That's the Magic.
And you mentioned, all the nice feedback we're getting. We're in a group chat with the NBA community, and we got the LA Lakers in, the Miami Heat in there, and it was Dan came out and said, that was fire. And that's the first nice thing I think he's ever said about the Orlando Magic, who runs the Miami account. And we had Elliot with Hooping and Looting. He said I think he quoted his little nice gif or whatever he does. So everyone loves it. So that's fantastic. So thinking about these jerseys, then I just want to throw it back to the early 2000s. What is your favorite Magic memory of when we wore these jerseys, either late 90s or early noughties? Is there a favorite game, a particular performance, or Gah? Let's go to you first, mate.
When you sent this out before, there was a couple of things that came to mind. In terms of on court, I thought about T-Mac's dunk against Boston, where it was the trademark backboard Duncan, and it was wearing the actual blue jersey. Whenever I think of anything to do with the star print, I immediately go to Tracy McGrady and dunks where it's to himself off the backboard, and that type of thing. And so on the court, it's the game with that blue jersey on against Boston. Off the court, it's a weird one, because I remember when we unveiled those jerseys, it's pre-internet almost, isn't it? It was when you were kind of fortunate if you had the internet. So I think the first time I saw those jerseys was in XXL magazine we used to get in the UK in association with Channel 4. They also carried the story you were on about from Nick Anderson about the jerseys and such at the time. And I thought, wow, we were going to change at some point. But how have we gone from getting really good jerseys to just really good jerseys again? And the happy memory, and that's why if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see I've got a champion replica Grant Hill one behind me. And I didn't buy the jersey when it first came out, as I was saying off air, because I figured Penny was done at that point. So I thought we're going to wait. And my favourite non-Magic player was Grant Hill. So my memory kind of those jerseys is when Tim Duncan and Grant Hill were on, like, getting off the plane, and then when we signed Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady in the end, thinking I've got to get that jersey now, because it was the equivalent, if you're younger, the Magic had basically just signed LeBron James. That's how good Grant Hill was. And it was making sure I ordered the jersey, sent it to relatives in North Carolina, and had it shipped to the UK because I was like, I've got to get a blue Grant Hill jersey ASAP. Like, as much as I like Tim Duncan, the big thing for me was, can we get Grant Hill? So I always think of two things. I think of McGrady's dunk and everything that came with T-Mac, but also how we signed Grant Hill and we're about that close to getting Tim Duncan. And I associate it all because we all knew the blow up was coming. We all knew
Yeah.
it was coming. We knew that we loved Heart and Hustle, but we knew what it was all for. So you can have that, and you can have a few memories of Ben Wallace in the jersey as well.
Yeah.
There you go.
For sure.
Yeah, like Gary, I've got the same replica champion jersey with Tracy McGrady on the back of it. I think all the numbers and all the letters have cracked on it because it's been worn and washed that many times down the years. But yeah, for me, there's two. There's certainly there's one T-Mac highlight for me that I think a lot of us will remember is driving off the left hand side of the baseline and dunking over Darko Milicic and the Pistons. For me, that was a big time dunk. That's a good memory. And the other one is my first game. There's not. We were talking about this before we start recording. There's not many highlights of my first game on the internet, but there's one particular where he drove into the paint with a left-handed dunk over Dikembe Mutombo. He had a couple of big dunks over Mutombo a couple of times, but yeah, for me, it's always going to be T-Mac highlights. But yeah, good times indeed.
Yeah,
What
definitely.
about you, G?
I got two games that stick out. One was in the 99 season. We were playing Philadelphia in the regular season, and it was at TD Waterhouse, I think it was called at the time. And I think we were down one. Philly had the ball at mid-court, and like a flash, Darrell Armstrong just stole the ball mid-court and lay it in as time expired. And we won like 71-70 in a real Eastern Conference, defensive battle. So that was great. I remember waking up that morning, checking. I think it was CNN at the time. It was the only way of getting our scores. That and teletext. And then there was another game again against Philadelphia. I've got the box score in front of me. 28th of March 2001. It was a game carried by Sky Sports at the time. McGrady scored 44 points, and we beat the Sixers 96-95. But I think it was a Pat Garrity 3 right at the death that put the Sixers to the sword. I think Iverson's got about 37, 38 that game. So it was one of those real back and forth games. John Amici also played. Shout out to the Brit. So yeah, no, fond memories of this jersey. So no, we're looking forward to getting it. And then before we move on from the jerseys, who are you going to get on yours, guys? If you're going to get it, so Gary's a bit not sure at the moment. Are you?
No, I'm not sure at the minute because I've kind of got it there.
Yeah, yeah.
I just think the price tag is quite high for the jersey from what we've seen. I like it, and I would love to get it, but I don't know if I'm going to throw another 100 nods on a jersey that I've already got with T-Mac, and then I've got the champion replica. If I was going to get one, I would probably get Wagner on it.
Yeah.
Just because when looking at the promo shots, I think it looks better with two numbers on. So I'd go for 22 or 50.
Nice. Michael?
I'm undecided. I'm the same as Gary. I'm undecided at the moment. I mean, the shorts are even more of a crazy price tag, but it is what it is. It's not the Magic's fault. It's how Nike are promoting it and what they are. But I mean, like, I've got two authentic champion jerseys. I've got other authentic Magic jerseys hanging up in wardrobe. I don't even think I paid £100 for some of them. And you're getting like top-notch quality. And I just think, the same as Gary, like we know the amount of people that have had problems with Nike jerseys and numbers peeling off, numbers being washed off, and they stick them in the washing machine. The quality's not there. I probably will buy one, having said all that. But I'm undecided who yet. I think Cole Anthony on the back of a Stars jersey would look pretty cool.
Yeah, it would. It would. I'm thinking maybe going old school.
What, Markel Fultz?
No, it's either Markel.
No,
or,
it's
like you
not.
said, Franz or Paolo
No.
but I might just get another Nick Anderson one.
No,
just
you
because
won't.
I may
Why
do.
would you? You won't. You're going to get Markel
Because
Fultz. Everybody watching and listening to
It's
this
timeless,
knows.
mate.
Yeah,
Timeless.
exactly. That's why you're getting a Markel Fultz on, because he's only going to play in it 1 year.
Spare a thought though for G's piggy bank with the other merchandise that came
Oh
out.
yeah. I did something yesterday, didn't I?
That was heavy.
It was. It wasn't just me who did it though. A couple of others. Adam Papa Giorgio, Dylan Holden did it. I'm not the only one.
It was quality. It was a quality jacket though.
Yeah.
I mean, all the merch that they look like they're going to bring out is going to be top notch.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was just going to get to that. Now, obviously, the Magic had a press conference yesterday, which was, great to see. And they brought back a couple of old players. You obviously had Bo and Nick. You had Turk there. You had Rhino there, along with Jalen Suggs. It was really good to see Ryan Anderson there, I thought. And I'd like the organisation to do something to bring him back in some capacity. Do you like that touch, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you missed Rashard Lewis. Is that because he went to Miami later on?
so didn't Anderson went there as well?
He did. He did.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a nice touch. That's the only thing the Magic got wrong with yesterday's announcement was not live streaming it. Because I think everybody was like on tenterhooks waiting to see everything yesterday.
Yeah.
I managed to find a live stream off of one of the local broadcasts. Somebody was in the stand filming it off their phone or something like that. But yeah, I think a lot of people had to wait later on to see some of it. But yeah,
they got it wrong by giving Bo Outlaw a DH Gate version. If you look really closely.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Right, so I think that's going to do it. So thank you, as always, for listening and watching. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube channel, Orlando Magic UK. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, or Twitter, all at Orlando Magic UK. If you've got time to give us a 5-star review, it would really help us, and we would really appreciate it. So until next week, from Gary, Mikey, and myself, go Magic.